The good guys, the bad guys, the deep state, the World Economic Forum, the secret cabal, the people that are working to enlighten us and free us. Do those exist? Do we have a say in how the world is administered? Hi there, crypto fans. Dick Allgire here in Honolulu, Hawaii. This is going to be a very interesting segment today. I'm going to play an entire segment that was originally on our private Patreon site because I want you to get a glimpse of some behind the scenes things and get your opinions. So here's the backstory. We have some very good sources who are extremely knowledgeable about how things are rolled out that affect the overall direction of humanity. We get some very good information from them, and I do some reports based on that. And I did a report that we published about a week ago, and it got some pushback. So I'm going to put the whole thing out in public right now. The subject was corporate governance and ESG. ESG is one of the new buzzwords. It stands for environmental social governance. And this is the framework of, some call it the Green New Deal, some call it, it involves carbon credits, environmental social governance. And so I pointed to some things that are happening, some events, some organizations that are rolling things out, showing where this is going. And one of our subscribers took exception to me doing this report, not in presenting the information, but in the way I presented it. He felt that I was endorsing the World Economic Forum, endorsing these concepts, and in fact, actually maybe even being paid by them and being a cheerleader for the so-called dark forces. So I'm going to play the whole segment for you and let you see how it was presented. My history, my background is being a journalist, and as a journalist back in the day, we always needed attribution. So it wouldn't be us saying something, it would be us quoting someone else, presenting both sides, and then letting the viewer or the listener make their own decision, come to their own conclusion. That is not how it's done anymore. Today, reporters are advocates for one side or the other, and I think that's a bad thing. So did I drift into that advocacy mode? I don't think so. I think I was this report was based on a conversation I had with one of our really good sources. So before I ramble on too much longer, here is the entire report that we had on our Patreon site last week. So here it is. Hi there, crypto subscribers. Dick Allgire here. 2023 is going to see us move toward a world that is much different than the one we grew up in. This is an actual screenshot of an account in Germany that shows how much carbon penalty one user accrued by purchasing items on eBay. eBay gives you a carbon violation score based on things you buy. They computed this person was responsible for emitting 313 kilograms of CO2 based on their purchases with zero offset credits. You see where this is going? In the future, this will be calculated for all your purchases with the appropriate taxes and penalties imposed on you. Carbon credits are already in effect. eBay in Europe has announced that they compute how much carbon you have emitted just by buying something. In December of 2022, there was a UN Biodiversity Summit held in Montreal, Canada. It was called COP15, a headline called the meeting a success. Government ministers from around the world worked to resolve key agreements regarding financing and commitments to land conservation. In other words, those of us in the U.S. and Europe get to pay developing nations for a future that has more nature. Seems like a great idea, a benign goal. Who doesn't love nature? You're going to be taxed for what you've done to poorer nations. Beginning in 2023, you're going to hear more about how we can finance sustainable development goals with ESG. ESG stands for environmental social governance. Get used to it. This is the Green New Deal. This is using the environment as a cudgel to force a new form of world communism known as communitarianism. This has already been decided, and you will now witness the implementation of all this. In 2023, we're going to begin to see the meshing of a framework of ESG using corporations as the implementation of these goals. What is planned is the Sustainable Development Goals enforced by supranational bodies enforced by corporate law. Well, that's a big transition for many who believe they live in a country that acts in their best interests, in which they have a say in how it's governed. Did you hear about the COP15 meeting? Did you have representatives there who you elected? No. This is going to be rolled out under international treaty. The governance will be implemented by NGOs, corporations, and international agencies like IRENA. IRENA is the International Renewable Energy Agency. You can go to the IRENA website at irena.org and see the proclamation at the bottom of the homepage. Supporting countries worldwide in their transition to a sustainable energy future. The 13th session of the IRENA Assembly sounds like an event from the old Soviet Union. That's going to be held January 2023. According to the site, collaborative frameworks seek to facilitate peer-to-peer collaboration and knowledge exchange on key aspects of the energy transition. They also serve as multi-stakeholder platforms for cooperation and coordinated action, bringing public, private, intergovernmental, and non-governmental actors together to support and accelerate the global energy transformation. Also happening this January, the annual meeting of world leaders at Davos. This year, we can expect them to introduce Hedera Hashgraph as a leader in the crypto community in terms of implementing sustainability and ESG goals. Countries are bankrupt. The fiat money game is over. It can't continue. Now, starting at Davos, you will see governance begin to move away from nation states to corporations and NGOs and supranational governance. For example, the World Wildlife Fund. Well, who doesn't love wildlife? The Clinton Foundation. Yeah, them. The Gates Foundation. Oh boy. Gavi. IEEA to be in charge of our wonderful clean new green energy infrastructure. IEEA stands for Informatics, Environment, Energy, and Applications. Have you heard of this organization? Did you vote for its members? These organizations already exist. There will also be bankers and financial organizations involved in the move to communitarianism. You will wake up one day and find yourself under new international guidelines and restrictions. These are going to be implemented by treaty without your input or consent and enforced by these global entities. The destruction of nation states is going to involve some things that we're not going to discuss at this time in this forum, but events in the past 3 years have been instrumental in the implementation of all of this. Questions and comments below, we will respond. Okay, that was the ESG report, and as I said, some of our subscribers pushed back about my presentation on that, saying that I was coming across as an advocate for the World Economic Forum. So we had a subsequent follow-up report that we recorded yesterday and that has been published today. And here comes the promo part of this for our Patreon site. It is published now on patreon.com/CryptoViewing at the founder and visionary level. And the report is titled Coping in 2023. So we address the concerns over that ESG report and the corporate governance report. And then we went on to talk about where cryptos are going this year, what's going to be happening in 2023 in terms of weather events, financial events, other things that are going to be challenging to say the least. So let us know in your comments below, how was my reporting style on that segment? did you take exception to it? And I invite you to go to patreon.com/CryptoViewing to see the full follow-up. We did a 90-minute conversation with information that you're not going to get anywhere else. If this type of thing is of interest to you, our Patreon site is one of the best sites around.